episode number 76. And what is that episode? It is about a topic we've spoken about briefly in other episodes, and I thought it deserved its own discussion. The title of this episode is Knowledge is Power. And what is knowledge? Knowledge about you is power over you. So let's talk about that. But before we go there, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Now, first, I said it was the second time I've recorded episode 76. Unfortunately, one of those great disasters does occur on occasion where you do all the work and you're ready to go and begin processing and editing, and for some reason the file gets corrupt and it's gone. And that was the case with the first recording. So yes, normally I do these episodes in a single take, I should say. And I've done this one for the second time. So maybe I'll do a little better than just doing a single take of it. Well, be that as it may be, what is knowledge is power? How does it relate to you? Well, let's talk a little bit about who Francis Bacon was. Francis Bacon was you could call him a scientist, philosopher, even to some extent a theologian that lived in the 1500s to the early 1600s. He went to Trinity College over in England, and he was really one of the first contributors to what would fully become the scientific process a few years later after he passed away. He was a great experimentalist. He tried to learn by experimenting and observing. And if you think about it, he always held things in check by being a skeptic. He was saying, okay, if you think this is true, tell me why, convince me, in so many words. And really, when you wrap all that around and look at it, you understand that it is the scientific process. We observe, we theorize, we create a model, we test the model, and we then look at the results from that test to determine if what we thought was true is true. And there's more to the scientific process than that, but in a quick nutshell, that pretty much describes it. So why would he say such a thing? Knowledge is power. Well, think about his time. I mean, in the 1500s, 1600s, and back, not everybody knew how to read and write. The knowledge of how to read and write opened up the world to people. They were able to read the great thoughts of others and those that came before them. So in the truest sense, at his time, knowledge was power. It enabled a person back then to know things that they would not ordinarily be able to know outside of their presence, outside of their time. But knowledge of power goes deeper than that. And if we bring it forward and rapidly change the environment to the internet age, we find that knowledge about things is easily accessible. And so it gives us a higher quality of life, perhaps, but it also the internet brings threats and dangers. Why is that? Well, let's just talk about that just for a second. If knowledge is power, one of the questions I ask my students is, what is knowledge about you? And I probably asked that question since about 2014 when I started my second career after I retired from the aerospace and defense industry. See, I gave you a little bit of knowledge there. That's power over me in a sense. But from that standpoint, one has to think, the more somebody else knows about me, the more they will be able to engage with me more easily, perhaps. But if they don't have my good intent, if they don't have my net well-being in mind, say they are a criminal sort, that would give them a little bit of an advantage over me. Because if they knew how I thought, what my habits were, they could leverage that against me. The simplest example I can give you of that is what many of you do today. Many of you are creatures of habit. And there's a certain point in time which you love to say, go to Starbucks. And you like that time drinking your coffee at Starbucks and maybe chatting with friends or reading a book or doing a little bit of work there at Starbucks, right? How is that knowledge that you like to go to Starbucks every Wednesday afternoon from 2 to 4:30? How is that power over you? Well, let's just follow that thread as an example. What else do they know? If they know that you're at Starbucks from 2 to 4:30, what do they know about you? They know where you are, but they know something else. Perhaps something a little more important. Maybe. They know where you're not, right? And knowing where you're not at a specific day of the week, at a specific time, gives them opportunity. Well, what sorts of opportunities might somebody of a criminal nature have? Well, if they know that you're at Starbucks every Wednesday from 2 to 4:30, they know you're not home. And if they know you're not home, that would give them liberty to perhaps know a little bit more about you, or may even break into your kingdom, into your treasury by going in and stealing more information at your home, or perhaps your valuables, whether they're keepsakes or things of actual value beyond just simply sentimental value. So you see, knowledge about you is power over you. Let's play this game a little further, perhaps. Let's say that I'll give you a statement one of my other students made. This was about 4 years ago. He said, I'm an open book. I don't care what anybody knows about me. I looked him in the eye, and of course we were in class, and I said, okay, give me your full name, your address, your social security number, and give me your credit card number. How about your driver's license? I want that too. He started looking at me a little bit concerned, as he should well have been, because with that little bit of information, you could call those pieces of information keys to your kingdom. Why is that? Because that's information most people use to identify that they are who they say they are. So if somebody else has all that information, they could say that they are you, and somebody that doesn't know you, perhaps a business, perhaps a credit card company, they would say, okay, you're a pretty good financial risk. And the keys to your kingdom is basically, or your queendom, I should say, it's basically the information, the critical information that describes who you are. And if somebody else gets a hold of that information by hook or crook through the internet or other means, even in your trash, then that open book that you say you don't really care about what anybody knows about you is going to become quite dangerous, and it's going to put you in a very bad way. And the reason for that is they will use your information to open up charge card accounts and charge to the fullest extent and live life to the fullest. And for all those charge companies know, the card companies know, it's you. And when that person does not make any payments, and you know very well that they're not going to make payments because they're perpetrating a crime, those card companies are going to come to you. Well, how do they know where you are? Well, the guy that became the mini you gave them your address, right? Your phone number, all that information that's required to open up a charge card account. They come right back to you and say, why aren't you making your payments? And you're going to say, I don't have that charge card. And they're going to say, yes, you do. You opened it up on such and such day. You see, being careless with your information, with the knowledge about what you are about, what your business is, who you are, the keys to your kingdom or queendom. Being careless with that information will open up you to great distress, and it will expose you to risk and dangers that you shouldn't be exposed to. And I know that sometimes, even to the best of our ability, we fall prey to some of these predators out there. As a matter of fact, my wife and I, we went out to a restaurant one time and had a nice evening together. And we came home, and the next week, I saw that there was charges against my credit card for stereo equipment for the car, new wheels for the car, all that good stuff that makes a car look very, very fancy. And I did not buy a single thing. I called the credit card company. Of course, the credit card company realized that somebody had stolen our card number. It could have been one of the waiters that was waiting on us at the restaurant. It could have been somebody handling the card for them. But whatever it was, they stole our information and was able to use it against us. But we're fairly quick, and we monitor our cards. We monitor our personal information very closely. And we even have services that protect us against such things. That doesn't make us impervious to those threats, but it helps us prevent those threats from getting out of hand when somebody tries to use our personal information. And the bottom line is we were able to nip that in the bud pretty quick. So why should we care? Well, we should care because information about you opens your entire life up to other people that might use that knowledge about you to your disadvantage. Again, I would ask you simply this question. If they know that you're going to be at Starbucks on Wednesday at 2, where do they also know you're not going to be? And that can be a very powerful thing, because then they can plan and strategize and then perhaps break into your house and rob you blind. And breaking into your house is not necessarily your physical house. It could be the keys to your kingdom online. And if they gain access to the information about you online, it opens up all sorts of avenues of threats. Even information about people is stolen and sold as a transaction to other people that would perpetrate a crime against you. In other words, your information becomes a commodity to those people that would like to get something for nothing. The dishonest people, the internet criminals that are out there. So when you expose yourself by opening up and letting people know more about your business, about who you are than perhaps should know, you're exposing both your online persona, you're exposing your financial persona, and you're exposing your physical self to great danger. So what do you do about it? Well, the answer to that is fairly simple. The answer is be careful who and to whom you share and what you share, right, about yourself. Before you share something that is critical information about your business, about your personal life, etc., think about, is it necessary for me to do so? And I know this sounds very cynical. It does, because we'd like to get with friends and just have a good time and not worry about that sort of thing. But you see, we're living in a day and age where your information can be halfway around the world in the blink of an eye. And people can be leveraging your information against you so that they can rob you blind, whether that's meaning perpetrating fraud, opening up false accounts, submitting false IRS reports and getting refunds. When it comes to bear, the IRS is going to know that it was a false return that was filed. And they're going to think it was you who perpetrated fraud against the IRS. And the IRS has all sorts of tools to recoup that money. And so you have to then go and prove to them and to the card companies and to anybody else that these criminals used your information to open up false accounts and steal you blind. You see, it's not only taking away your time and effort, but it's taking away the funds that you would have immediately accessible for your own personal life. You get bound up in trying to clean up this fiasco, and literally what took them perhaps a day to do to you might take you years to clean up. So it can cause great harm to you. The other thing that people don't realize is there have been studies done about information out on the internet. And what they're trying to do, these researchers, they're trying to understand what the half-life of that information is out on the internet. So your information gets out on the internet. Either you placed it there through some social media, or somebody else placed it there because you opened up an account with them and they were hacked, or somebody else put something about you on the internet. What these researchers found was that information seems to last forever for practical purposes. And what that means is you can hire other companies to come in and clean up your crumbs trails of wherever you've been out on the internet, but somebody's cut and pasted and copied it and stowed it away, and it's still out there. So you got to be careful. You have to be very careful. You have to exercise extreme caution with what you share online and to whom you share it. You have to even be careful with your own garbage. If you don't shred your personal information before you put it in the garbage, you're exposing yourself to internet crime. You're exposing yourself to some type of criminal behavior by others on you. So it's not a safe world out there. We're literally living in the wild, wild west. We're like in the frontier land of the internet, because whose law governs the internet? Well, what's illegal in the United States might be legal in Russia. What's illegal in France might be legal in the United States. And I can give you all sorts of examples. But the point I'm trying to make is simply this: because there's not a single control mechanism or set of laws on the internet, it's easy for people to abuse it. It's easy for those with a little bit of knowledge and capability to hack into computer systems and gain access to databases of information about you and your spending habits, about you and your net worth, about you and your education, about you and your friends, right? You're actually living your life through this little window that opens up the internet and exposes you to all sorts of great benefit and to great danger. So I would say this: be aware that everything that you do on the internet can be used for you or against you. Everything that you say can be used for you or against you. If you must share, share judiciously. Think critically about what it is you're about to say, and make sure that it is needed to be said, so that you don't unnecessarily share information that will broaden the knowledge of who you are and what you're about out there on the internet. You want to seize control. You don't want anybody else to seize control, especially of you and your life. And with that, my friends, take care, be careful what you share, and I will see you in the next episode.